afternoon. Happy Sunday. Welcome back to the Zig Zone, Falcon Media Sports Network show, which is your home for all the happenings in the world of Bowling Green athletics. As always, I'm your host, Holden Ruck, joined here today by a talented group from the Falcon Media Sports Network, and I'll start all the way to my left with introductions. Mr. Sean Connolly, first time in a while. How are you doing, Sean?
Doing well. Yeah, it's been a while. First month of the school year, but yeah, ready to be back on.
To his left, first timer to the show, as I recall as well, Aiden Bruick. How we doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Glad to be here. Got you here, especially keeping up on the golf team. So really looking forward to hearing about that because that's one we don't touch on enough here. To his left, as always, Lucas Kleinmeyer, our expert on everything going on the pitch. How we doing, Lucas?
If you asked me 24 hours ago, I'd said terrible, but I'm actually feeling a little bit better now with how the women's soccer team did today.
Glad to hear it. And last but certainly not least, in the kind of the designated volleyball chair at this point, Andrew Smith. How we doing?
Doing all right. Volleyball team played well. Played very well in their second game at Michigan State. So looking forward to how the team's going to do in conference play.
Absolutely. We've got a whole slate of action to talk about. Before we do, we're going to step away briefly for station identification. After that, we'll be back and talking about what's going on with the Falcon football team. So don't go anywhere because you're listening to the Zig Zone on WBGU 88.1 FM.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcast on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
Welcome back to the Zig Zone. Without further ado, we're going to get right into the action on the football field as the Falcons traveled to play the Louisville Cardinals over the weekend, and we're going to let Coach Eddie George's opening statement from his press conference Saturday take you through things before we break it down.
Yeah, I think, we played a really talented football team. I think we played them hard at times. All right, this is one that we knew was going to be a tough opponent because of the matchups, but we felt like we come and compete at a high level. There were opportunities for us to make it a close game. Again, the self-discipline issues that we've had, got into a situation we threw a pick after getting the ball on their side. I think we were down 14-3 at that point in time. Gave up 7 points off of that drive. Couldn't stop them on the perimeter. I thought they were going to come in and just run the ball, but they kept spitting it out there on their edges, getting the ball to their athletes. And we had issues all day in terms of getting the ball outside. They were very efficient in that capacity in their passing game. And penalties hurt us when we had the opportunities to make it a close game. So, the good thing is that we're still becoming. We're a team that's still developing. We didn't quit. We talked about, hey, we win the fourth quarter, and I believe we did just that. I can think, we might have. Did we win the fourth? Okay, we won the fourth. And we were able to do some good things on the ground. We got to marry that up with our passing attack, and not put ourselves in positions to give up opportunities where we could have scored and turned the ball over. Lost a turnover battle. And that's where we are. We just have to continue to grow up fast because we got our toughest part of the season's coming up in the MAC, and this is where it counts. So whether we had won this game or not, it doesn't change the fact that the season starts next week against Ohio. So, but we have to learn, we have to grow because we cannot become champions with the penalties and shooting ourselves in the foot at times. So.
Really sums it up pretty well, I think. I want to throw it over to Sean Connolly first, and talk to me about what you took away from that opening statement.
I think he hit it right on. I think yesterday's game went exactly how I think at least every fan should have expected it to go. Louisville's a pretty good team. I mean, they're going to compete for the ACC, potentially a playoff spot. So they're a pretty good team. I think the spread was like 26.5, and Tyler on Friday was like, "Hey, what do you think is going to happen?" And I said, I think that they'll lose probably by around 24 points, and we covered by 23. So I think the game, like I said, went exactly how it happened. That said, there were some things that you can clean up. He mentioned penalties, losing the turnover battle. There were just a few things that, over a course of a season, you got to be better at. And so, you'd rather get that out of the way now against a team like Louisville than next week against Ohio and the next week against Toledo. So, like I said, I think yesterday, if those were the expectations, in my opinion.
And he touched on as well, the concept of not shooting ourselves in the foot, making those mistakes, giving up our opportunities. What do you think about that, considering that the Falcons came into the contest as one of, only a small handful of teams in the country that didn't have a turnover to their name yet?
Yeah, and I think with the penalties too. I can't remember what drive it was. It might have been Louisville's first score or second. I can't remember, when the game was still relatively close. There were two face mask penalties back to back, and it just that's 30 yards, 20 yards. I don't know. I can't remember what a face mask is. That's a swing that you just can't have, and that pushed them right to the 5-yard line. They score. Like I said, it was their first score. And then the interceptions. I mean, that was probably, in my opinion, Pine's worst game. Obviously, you're playing a better team, so it's take it with a grain of salt. But in my opinion, I think he didn't play his best. 11 for 21, 131 yards, 1 TD, and 2 interceptions. Being a quarterback of a team that didn't allow any turnovers up until that point is a pretty, like you said, a good feat to have. One of the teams in the only handful of teams in the country to have that. So up until this point, he's been game manager in my opinion. But then yesterday, I think, like I said, and they're not interceptions, tip here, there, and then they just falls into the defender's hands. I mean, they were underthrown. I mean, they weren't that good. They weren't good interceptions. That's essentially what I'm getting at. And you even got, a gift handed to you. The fumble on the punt. I mean, that was, you got the ball in Louisville territory, settled for a field goal, which, by the way, we should talk about Jackson Cleather sometime. That he is the best punter or kicker in the MAC, in my opinion.
I don't think that's a very big reach at all. I mean, the number of those big-time field goals he's hit to even keep them in contention and scoring on those drives as opposed to coming out empty, I think that's a very...
And I think also it just gives you such a, I can't remember when Eddie George went for it. He said it sometime in the next in his press conference. We're going for it at some point. That said, knowing that you have a kicker that can kick 50-yarders now gives them that comfort of okay, let's get 3 here instead of trying to go for it and get away with no points. So having a kicker like that, I think, is going to be huge down the stretch in MAC play.
Yeah, and I think you always have to, kind of change how you're looking at the measuring stick when you're playing a team like Louisville, a power conference team, especially one that can contend in that power conference, because, 40 points doesn't stick out as, okay, our defense really played awesome today. The 2 turnovers makes the offense not look great. Special teams was still really, really solid. I mean, like you said, the field goals themselves, but also the actual play that resulted in the Falcons getting that first field goal was just crazy. Great awareness there. I'm continually impressed by the awareness on special teams, because I feel like that's something I've seen Falcon teams lack a lot in previous years. Yeah,
I mean, it's obviously one of the 3 aspects of football, and being good at that just, in my opinion, like I said, rounds out the team really well. And Eddie George calls it special forces. So he instead of special teams, it's special forces. And I think that's evident. I mean, like I said, you were given a gift on the punt return fumble, and then you're kicking and punting. I mean, John Henderson is a dog. I mean, he week 1, Eddie George called him a cyborg. That's just you have so many, you have great players at every position on special teams, and that's even Cameron Petaway on kick returns. Every aspect of special teams is a force to be reckoned with, hence special forces. So in my opinion, that's probably the strong suit of the Falcons as of now. Obviously offense, defense we can get into a little bit, but I think what we've seen out of special teams has been awesome this year.
Looking at the defensive performance, I think I felt like for what I was able to watch, I watched about 3/4 of the game personally. From what I saw, like I didn't feel like the entire unit as a whole was really playing bad. I felt like, and I think Coach Roach kind of touched on this in his press conference too. The Cardinals and Miller Moss did a really good job of like attacking the perimeter. And I feel like the secondary injury, which I'll let you get into in a minute, probably doesn't help on that front. But did you feel like they were just getting, kind of imposed on the whole game? Or I felt like there were some times where they were making some good plays.
It was, in my opinion, very similar to the Cincinnati game where I didn't think the defense played that bad. They gave up 34 against Cincinnati. But there were the 3-4 big plays that just kill your team. And that's how I felt yesterday with the game. And that's unfortunate because, like I said, I didn't think the defense played that bad. You're going against a really good team against Louisville, and a few weeks ago you were going against a pretty good team against Cincinnati. So again, both games were against Power 4 teams. So yeah, the defense didn't play bad. It's kind of just more of up for debate of how you saw it. I didn't think they were the reason why we lost yesterday. Obviously, you gave up 40 points, but I think there were a couple other things that if you cleaned up, it could have been a little different.
Yeah. Another thing that really, really stuck out to me, and it's not not really the thing that you can lean on, we're going to be just fine, or, the biggest takeaway from this game, got to talk about the Lucian Anderson touchdown scramble. I know you've historically been a bit of a fan of Lucian Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, were you just excited to see that play? Or
Definitely, and just anytime you break off a big run, it's always just the adrenaline and the energy from your sideline and teammates. I think Eddie George, like I said, later touched on it a little bit. It's it was awesome. He kind of dealt with some, I can't remember, I don't know if it was injury, just, off the field type of thing this offseason. So he's been, in my opinion, a great backup quarterback. It's funny. I feel like at 90% of schools, the backup quarterback's the most popular guy on campus. I don't know how that will fare with Drew Pine in terms of do fans want Lucian Anderson to start? I don't know. Going into this year, I didn't think that we were going to get a transfer quarterback. So I thought it was going to be Lucian's team because he's been behind Bazelak last year, or Bazelak the past 2 years. So I just was a little surprised by that. Not mad about it at all. In my opinion, I think, like I said, Pine's worst game was yesterday, and he's been pretty consistent for the first 3 games. But yeah, and he was the leading rusher, and he only had 4 carries, and one of them was for 75 yards. So 4 carries, 79 yards, 1 touchdown. And then I wanted to touch on this as well. The receiving as well. Jacob Harris, 3 receptions, 46 yards, 1 TD. I mentioned it in the preview that was out on Friday. Every game you have 2 different players on receiving and rushing that are going to be different. That's going to be the top receiver and the top rusher. That's, in my opinion, something that we have a lot of players that you can spread the ball around. I think last week it was RJ Garcia and I think Kadarius Roberts, who were the leading rusher and receiver. I think the week before it was Finn Hogan and Jaron Johnson. So you have a lot of players that you can spread the ball around, and that's, in my opinion, a good thing to have.
Yeah, it really feels like, especially with the style of quarterback that Drew Pine is, he's a solid, experienced guy, but it's not unreasonable to say that he's, more of kind of managing the game and helping, facilitate the ball getting to these weapons versus making all the plays himself. I feel like both kind of all the position groups at the skill positions being more of a committee type thing really plays to that strength.
Definitely. And yeah, he has the experience. He is the veteran. You'd rather have a guy like that, be the game manager and, like I said, be pretty consistent for the first 3 weeks than a guy who's unexperienced without anything. And then you're kind of going in with is this quarterback good or not? In my opinion, I think Drew Pine, he's a fine quarterback. I really think he fits well into the MAC and at a school like Bowling Green. So I'm excited to see how he does in MAC play. Your hardest games are out of the way in terms of Louisville, Cincinnati. Those were the 2 hardest games. Louisville definitely being the hardest game. Now you are now into MAC play, and Eddie George said it. The season starts next week, and I think he hits it right on right there. Season starts next week. Who cares what we did the first 4 weeks? It's now in a MAC play.
And I do want to move on and talk about MAC play, but before we do, I want to touch on the injury to Dorian Pringle. What kind of... I saw that, my heart sank a little bit. That feels like a really tough blow right as you're getting into, as we kind of said, the part of the season that matters.
Yeah, he was your defensive star, and so your best player on defense is now hurt for the rest of the year, so that means someone's got to step up. And on the depth chart, it seemed like there were a lot of guys behind him that were redshirt freshmen, redshirt sophomores, like just not guys that have experience. But in my opinion, that's not a bad thing. Like, what if the next guy is just as good as Pringle and he's young? Like that just helps the future. So it sucks in my opinion. Like, it's awful because I think Pringle, like I said, was going to be probably first team All-MAC. I don't think that's unfair to say at all. And so, yeah, I think it just is a pretty big blow. That said, Gideon Lampron, the other linebacker, he's a dog. Like, he's probably going to be the second best player on defense. So it sucks because 50% of your linebackers are starting linebackers at least are down. But yeah, I think Gideon Lampron now has to step up, which he has. I think he's converted really well over from the FCS level to the FBS. And now, who's up next? Like I said, there's a few guys on the depth chart that are redshirt freshmen, redshirt sophomores that need to step up.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on.
No,
Sean, do you have any idea who that's going to be?
I would have to check the depth chart exactly. I think MJ Cannon was behind him. He plays a lot. I would have to check exactly, but I'm eager to see who's going to fill the role next week against Ohio.
I think if you look at it from a silver lining sort of perspective, Bowling Green gets to learn what commodities they do or don't have at that position group because they have to now, and that's certainly as far as looking at the future even, but just like for this season, should another injury come up later, you kind of what you're working with a little bit, and I think there's definitely some value to that. But I do want to move on because, like we said, you're looking ahead at MAC play. Your hardest games are behind you, but I do want to not overlook this OU team in Athens, who I think for a lot of people's money still might be the best team in the MAC.
Definitely. I mean, especially after this past weekend with Toledo losing to Western Michigan, I think that now it's a clear cut and favorite. Ohio's the best team in the MAC, which we were talking a little bit before the show started. It's like we didn't think that was, I wouldn't say possible, but it's like when you lose a coach, a lot of players enter the transfer portal. Guys decommit. Who's the next guy? What if the next guy isn't that good? But no, Ohio's definitely, in my opinion, the best team in the MAC. So your two hardest MAC games are now ahead of you against Ohio and against Toledo. And like I was saying all week, if you go 1-1 in those games, Bowling Green looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you look down the rest of the schedule, and I don't think it's, as we've already talked about this, but I don't think it's ridiculous to say that you are probably favored to win all of them. I mean,
maybe against Buffalo, depending on how good they look. That said, they were in a barn burner with Kent State 2 weeks ago. So and I think that's the beauty of the MAC. Like, it's so cliche, but anything can happen any given Saturday or Tuesday or Thursday, whatever day we're playing. So you obviously can't check the box of a win or a loss yet. That's the fun part about sports. But I'm eager to see, like I said, if we can go 1-1 against Ohio and Toledo. Like I said, like you said, it favors the Falcons for the schedule, the rest of the schedule.
Well, I'm just curious overall to ask you, what do you think the changes are that need to be made going into next week when you see the initialization of MAC play, especially with Drew Pine? He's had 3 weeks and has, I mean, you said it earlier, Anderson, when he came in, he made a little bit more a little bit more fireworks happen. But I mean, realistically, do you think there needs to be a mentality change? Do you think there needs to be a game plan change? Do you think we need to benchmark week 1 against Ohio to see what the rest of our MAC outlook looks like? I'm just interested to hear what you think strategic or strategy wise.
I think Eddie George is a great motivator, so I'm positive that he'll have guys with the right mindset for motivation. But at the same time, you can't have a slow start now. Now you got your slow starts out of the way. I think yesterday it was 21-3 going into halftime. Last week, you were up 10-0, but that doesn't mean your offense was playing that well. Week before, I think it was 24-3 or 24-7. I can't remember the exact score against Cincinnati at halftime. But you can't afford to have slow starts anymore, especially against a team like Ohio and Toledo. That said, I mean, you dominate the fourth quarter. It seems like I think they've outscored every opponent in the fourth quarter. And that's pretty big. That, in my opinion, is such a big thing to have going forward. Let's just say they're in a tight game against Ohio or Toledo or Central Michigan. Those fourth quarter, just the motivation is going to be huge, in my opinion, in MAC play.
And the issue is if you're with the slow starts, is if you're behind enough, what you do in the fourth quarter, even if you outscore the team, it might not end up mattering. I feel like the mindset, especially against going into this game against Ohio at Athens next week, needs to be we need to score on the opening possession.
Yeah.
And I think the mindset definitely needs to be starting hot and starting early. But at the same time, there's definitely a positive to that tendency for them to play, win the fourth quarter, as he was kind of saying, because these MAC games, like, it kind of just has its own property to it. I feel like MAC teams always find a way to play other MAC teams close. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that happens a lot. Like, anybody who's watched the MAC can tell you that. And I think being a team that performs well in the fourth quarter means that they're going to be able to compete with anybody on their schedule, regardless of whether or not they start hot or not. But then the caveat to that is if they're going to win one or both, hopefully at least one of these first two MAC games against Ohio and Toledo, though, they can't afford to start slow. Whereas they might be able to pull that off against UMass, Kent State, Akron. I don't see that. I think if Toledo or Ohio is able to get an early lead, I think it's
hard to
gonna
come
be
back from.
pretty wraps, especially with the style of ball that they've been playing.
Definitely. You can't
there's
Bowling
emphasis on the
Green
run. You can't
doesn't
run
stretch
from
the
behind.
they don't stretch the field like in 3 plays where it's like, they're already in the red zone. That's just not how Bowling Green is yet. Maybe we haven't seen a gear that isn't unlocked yet for the Falcons offense. Like I said, does Lucian have that next gear? Like, can he stretch the field? Clearly, one play he was 75 yards a 75-yard touchdown. So we'll see. Like I said, you can't start slow against Ohio or Toledo. So I'm, like I said, pretty eager to see what's in store next week.
Funny you think Anderson's going to play next year, not this year.
What was that?
Funny you think Anderson's going to play next year, not this year.
Well, I think it could happen either year. Drew Pine's gone after this year, but I don't think, you see your quarterback have one, not so great game. You don't just bail on him. That's not what any coach does. But I think for what it's worth, you can see the spark that a play like that, that 75-yard run, Drew Pine's not running a 75-yard touchdown in. And I do wonder if you consider at some point, even just for the odd play here and there, the Taysom Hill special or however you want to qualify it, putting in a guy who can make the defense have to respect all 11.
And yet that means teams are probably going to have to prep more for if they see Lucian Anderson come in, they have to study that. And if they don't, I'm sure Lucian Anderson would make him pay.
And it becomes that same 1-2 punch that you're seeing with the run game where we have so many different options. Of course, in football, you're really not going to run on a dual quarterback system and this type of offense that Eddie George is running right now. But I do think that it is a possibility. I guess the way that I said that, it probably came off as a little anti Drew Pine. I don't think that he's a bad quarterback at all. I think that sometimes it's important to evaluate all your options, and especially now that you've gotten through kind of the toughest part of your schedule, if you want to call it the toughest part of your schedule. And he's put up the numbers that he has, then I really, really want to see how he does in MAC play with the competition that we're going to be going against for the rest of the season.
I'm almost positive too that Tyler and I always do a mailbag each week. I can guarantee you one of the questions will be should Lucian Anderson be the starter? I can guarantee you, by the way, shout out the mailbag. You should definitely submit some questions. Those will be answered every Tuesday. But no, I can guarantee you one of the questions will definitely involve Lucian Anderson at some capacity this week. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm very interested going forward how much playing time he will get.
Well, and I know there's kind of a mantra that some coaches will say, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. And, that's all good and fine. But I remember, look at a team like last year's Texas or Michigan a few years ago. They called plays. Number one, teams that liked to run the ball when they can and, kind of control the pace of the game. Teams with decent, pass rushing abilities, which, I would say 3 sacks on Louisville is a pretty respectable showing. And then they had, designed plays with Alex Orji in Michigan or with Arch Manning last year at Texas, making the other defense respect all 11 guys instead of just knowing, okay, well, he's either throwing here or we're sacking him because he's not mobile. And I'm not saying Drew Pine can't move, but Like,
he made a good play yesterday out of the pocket, so he
did.
can move. So
Right.
it's not like he's just a statue back there.
but it makes you think.
But it's not his second or third option. Like,
You
it's
know,
literally last resort when he has to move.
You can not have a quarterback controversy and still design plays for another player taking the snap. I mean, that's the whole like foundational principle, like the Wildcat. You know what I mean? You're not snapping it to the quarterback. That doesn't mean he's losing his job. But I'm interested to see how they could implement that, because I don't think it's just, hey, we're throwing Lucian in because we're losing. You know what I mean?
Well, they did that with Camden North when he was
Right.
here.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they've done that before under Loeffler. So I mean, I
With
wouldn't be
another,
surprised at all.
kind of a stronger running game when they had Terrion Stewart and the running backs,
Exactly.
Jason Patterson playing healthier, and at times pretty strong defensive performances too.
I don't think it'd be at all a bad idea to give Lucian a couple snaps, a couple run plays, just to, even like you guys said, just to throw off the defense and then make him prepare for more than what
Multiple
Pine has to
guys,
offer.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a good idea.
You think they let him air it out a little bit?
That dude does have a cannon. That dude can throw.
He does have an arm. I don't know. I really don't. I would like to personally.
Unless I would too, but unless he's forced to, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Specifically, like I said, unless like Pine gets hurt or they move guys around. Like I said, I don't see it personally happening. So
I think they should just be like air out the ball just a few times a game.
mm-hmm.
Like I feel like
But
we haven't really gone.
the thing
for,
is
I know we're not like a big chunk play team, but like try it.
I just-
in play action or something.
I don't think Drew Pine, he can't throw the ball more than 20 yards and have it be like accurate. A dime, yeah. Like he can throw a really like good spiral, but it's only for about 20 yards. If anything more, like I said, we saw yesterday, both his interceptions were underthrown.
How many here? Let me pose this to you, because I think that the Falcons, personally, I think they're going to be fine. I expect that they're going to go 1-1 in these next two games,
I do too.
and I think they're going to contend. I think Drew Pine's going to play fine. He's playing against MAC defenses. He's not playing against ACC, Big 12 defenses.
Yeah, and
my question: how many losses and or picks over this 2-game stretch does it take before they consider a switch up?
that's a very good question. Like I said, yesterday, bad games happen. I'm not gonna, you can't just base it off of one game. That's pretty interesting. I would say if he throws within like the 5 to 6 and not have like as many touchdowns either, like it has to probably do with the ratio, in my opinion. Like I said, maybe 5 to 6 would probably consider at least.
Yeah. Realistically, I think it's going to take. I don't know if George is going to cut or is going to crash immediately on the Drew Pine experiment.
I don't see that either.
I don't see that how. I just don't see him doing it not only this early in the year, and I understand you're not saying it's like going to happen within the next 4 weeks. I'm talking about like by the end of the season. I don't know if Eddie George would do that to Pine, especially after all the experience that Pine has throughout his college career. This guy started at Notre Dame, gets injured, transfers, gets injured again, and then is trying to prove himself again on a mid-major stage. And I think that the narrative that he's trying to tell and build himself in the story that he's telling right now is pretty lenient on Eddie George's trust and reliance in his arm. And it just seems like right now there isn't a lot of trust in his arm. So I think George is going to let him be a game manager like you were talking about. Be a game manager and hand the ball off. I don't think that there's going to be a point. I mean, I do think that there will be a point in the season where they will have to reevaluate things. But I think in terms of in the near future, I can't see that.
What Sean said, I think he would need to have like a lot, like 5-6 interceptions over the next 2 games, but also lose. I think if they win,
If you win, who cares?
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I agree with that. If they
Dubs don't matter.
Winning
Yeah.
solves everything.
Yeah.
If he plays bad against Ohio and Toledo and we win both games or even one, he's fine.
Yeah, I
He's staying
agree.
there.
When do we, like, if we, like, the expectation is that we go 1-1, or that's, at the very least, the hope.
Mhm.
If we go 0-2 with these next 2 games, does the panic button get hit?
For
and if not, when are we hitting the
panic button for
Just
Drew
in
Pine or
general,
just in
like, the
general?
team.
I think the MAC.
I mean, it's always so tough to say just because the expectations this year alone were not necessarily like MAC. Like last year's expectations were MAC championship. If you're not Detroit, it's a failure, which they weren't. So I think this year the expectations were around 500. So I think maybe after Liberty's game that those would be reevaluated just because I think a lot of people didn't think we were going to win that game. We were underdogs in that game. So I mean, that is pretty interesting. Yeah. I don't know. If you go 0-2, like I said, these are your two toughest MAC games that you are going to play. So to me, the expectation is go 1-1, but probably like I can guarantee, like we were talking earlier, Bowling Green's an underdog by 11.5 points. I could probably guarantee that Toledo's going to be favored in that game too. So you're not expected to win these two games. So
for that reason, I don't think you can hit the panic button. You have it very easy down the stretch. So
if we lost to Central and we lost to Kent, all right, definitely that the panic button would be hit. But you're not going to be favored in these next two games, in my opinion, unless you beat Ohio. If you beat Ohio, then maybe things will change. But I don't know. I don't think the panic meter should be smashed if you go go 0-2.
And here's the thing too is, last year they made a bowl game, lost the bowl game, but this year you're coming in looking at like the overhaul of the roster, the new coach, new system, and it's like, okay, can they even make a bowl game? Can they even go 500?
Definitely.
And in fairness, like if that's the standard for your first season, not only is that like, okay, that's not a bad first season, that's a good starting point, but they only need to win one game out of Eastern, Buffalo, and Central. They could lose to Toledo and Ohio if they take care of Kent, Akron, and UMass, which I think they should.
But it's action. Anything can
it's
happen.
action. Anything can happen, yes.
I
can't believe you hit that tagline and we were like 4 or 5.
I do have a question. I wonder what the expectations would have been if Eddie George is not the head coach. Like, he's the biggest name outside of Urban to be a head coach at Bowling Green. Like if it was some random I'll use a Carl Joe Schmo, like if he was coaching, like what would the expectations be? Probably not very good.
No.
Well, I mean, I think you're getting less in the portal, probably.
Definitely, you're getting less in the portal. We did have the number one recruiting portal in the MAC, so you're definitely not getting as much there. You probably won't be getting Drew Pine. Like
and you're still probably losing the same ones,
exactly.
Like with Leffler
if
leaving,
not more.
So if not more.
If you get a nobody,
you might lose that.
Yeah, and I guess the same question, like if Leffler decided to stay, what would the expectations be for this year? Probably, I would say probably about, like I said, 500, maybe a little bit above that. Because this year, like I said, last year was the year to win the MAC. Couldn't do it, and we obviously saw what happened. So, like I said, I think Eddie George lifts those expectations by a lot. And it's warranted. I mean, he's, in my opinion, a really good coach. So I think it's deserved.
I mean, just, the way the team has played even in their losses, and especially in the upset win over Liberty, I think we've already seen with, I mean, it's not... I think that the roster has a lot of good players, but we're not going to pretend it's like some star-studded, wow, this is like easily the best roster in the MAC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're well coached, and I think like the special teams exemplifies that. And I think
if Eddie had last year's roster, man, oh man. Not to say Leffler didn't do a good job, but like just that roster last year was special.
It was stacked.
Yeah. Hypotheticals.
I know.
Oh.
You gotta love them. We're now SEC territory.
We're getting
the hypotheticals.
Undefeated in hypotheticals.
No, that's Justin Herbert.
I was about to say.
Yeah,
that.
I was just that's good.
He's done well this year. Justin Herbert's done well.
Anyway,
and he's dating Madison Beer. I'd say he's doing pretty well for himself.
Justin Herbert's doing pretty well until the playoffs start.
That's true.
Anyway, we'll wrap that up. Get back on track here. Bowling Green's going to travel to Athens, Ohio, to face the Ohio Bobcats in their MAC opener, September 27th, this upcoming Saturday, for a noon kickoff. Who do we have there? Lucas and/or Sean? Take me through it.
Wrong mic. There we go. Got it. So we have a full crew. It's Tyler Kavlitz and Kevin Hutchinson for a call. The man to the right of me is going down for socials.
Yeah.
I say for social media.
You'd be correct.
Carl Leonard will be down for recap for BG Falcon Media. Nick Winholtz will be there for some video content as well, among other photographers as well, such as Chloe Withrow. So full crew.
Love it. Full coverage there from Athens. Should be a good one, I think. I'm excited. So.
I do also want to touch that we do have a bye week before the Toledo game, which is huge. So getting that extra week of preparation helps a ton, in my opinion.
Does Toledo get a bye week that same week?
I don't think so.
Nope. They do not.
So let's check, and then we can probably. So
I think.
they actually do. Never mind.
Oh.
So they play
That's
Akron
actually
next
smart.
week.
I like that, actually.
Fire
I'm glad they did that.
That's gonna be cinema.
At the Glass Bowl, and then a bye week, and then they travel here. So, but like I said, yesterday's game, Western Michigan was 0-3 going into that game, and then they beat Toledo. So,
What's the saying?
Which one?
Say the line.
What's the line?
Say the line, Bart.
so yeah, I'm excited. That I think that'll be one of my favorite games like I'll ever be at, in my opinion. Here,
Parker Navarro's out. No, is Navarro out? Or
I don't think so.
No, he's there.
No,
there.
he's in. He's in.
Yeah, he played.
Yeah.
He played.
He played well against Ohio State too. Like he's
been coaching.
probably
No,
the
'cause-
best quarterback in the MAC.
Oh, without a doubt. I don't disagree with that. I saw something about him getting.
He was hurt, but he played against Gardner Webb. Unless I'm just totally tripping. I'm pretty sure.
I
think
think he
that
played.
Parker
I think he's
Navarro is
in.
Still in.
Yeah, he definitely
I
played.
haven't seen anything about.
Well, let's look then, actually, real quick. Sorry, listeners. That's my bad.
Apologies. No, that's my bad.
Yes,
Because
he did. Yeah, he did. He was 18 for 27, 290, and a touchdown.
Oh my goodness.
No, yeah, but,
Oh no.
9 carries for 72 yards as well.
yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. So
Anyways.
we're going against the best quarterback in the MAC this week. So I'm eager to see what our defense prepares
Real
for.
good. He's
That
really
said,
Oh no.
I think this week we'll definitely be missing Pringle, but
Yeah.
who's going to step up?
Anyways, we'll stay tuned to all the BG Falcon Media and Falcon Media Sports Network channels on Twitter and YouTube, Facebook, Instagram as well, to stay tuned with all of our content going out, as well as bgfalconmedia.com.
Pinterest.
As always. Pinterest?
No.
That'd be sick. BGFMSN, Pinterest. Okay. We're going to step away for a minute to collect ourselves. When we come back, we're going to talk about women's soccer. So don't go anywhere. You're still listening to the Zig Zone on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Don't miss The Morning Show on WBGU FM every weekday from 6 to 9 a.m. Join the Morning Show team weekday mornings to hear about local news, local weather reports, community programming, financial market reports, coaches show with coaches from BGSU and BGHS, and live newsmaker interviews. Listen live every weekday from 6 to 9 a.m. locally on 88.1 FM or streaming online at bgfalconmedia.com. The Morning Show on WBGU FM is brought to you by the Bowling Green Chamber of Commerce. For more information, contact The Morning Show at themorningshow@bgchamber.net. Send them any programming suggestions or information you might have. They are always looking for show ideas and guests. To have your birthday or anniversary announced, email or call the Bowling Green Chamber of Commerce at 419-353-7945. The Morning Show on WBGU.
Welcome back into the Zig Zone. I'm Holden Ruck once again, joined by Andrew Smith, Lucas Kleinmeyer, Aiden Bruick, and Sean Connolly. We're going to move on and talk about some women's soccer action as they just got done today with a result that Lucas Kleinmeyer didn't seem, too upset about.
No, not upset at all. I just got done calling the game, so my voice is just absolutely shot at this point. I don't know what's going on there, but that's a very, very good result. Western Michigan is the defending regular season and tournament champions for women's soccer. They also are the 2023 regular season champions as well. They have not lost a MAC game since 2022, and if you exclude regular season, BG beat Western Michigan my freshman year in 2022 MAC quarterfinals at home, but since then they've been perfect in conference play. They've been dominant. Lewis Robinson in his fourth year with the Broncos has just been sensational coaching this team. The players they have, the recruits they've gotten are some of the top in the entire MAC, and also some they compete with the Michigan area. Even getting players from Michigan and Michigan State to come to Western Michigan and be key contributors. Like today, Avery Peters got the goal for the Broncos in the first half, former Michigan Wolverine. Bowling Green answered back. Lexi White got her first ever goal for the Falcons in her 3 seasons, so good for her off a set piece, which has been a common theme. They're really good at corner kicks and free kicks, which can be alluded to set pieces. Really good this year for the team. That was probably the most physical and intense women's game that I've covered or called here since I can remember, honestly. I will double check how many cards there were in this game, but there had to have been at least 6 or 7. Oh, wow, I didn't even mean to do that. And that just, wow. Anyway, moving forward. There was, Chris Fox got a yellow card within the first 15 minutes of
saw
the
that.
game.
I was like, it's going to be that kind of game.
And that's nothing to take away because men's games just naturally get more just heated just by the tone of it. But this women's team, at least Bowling Green program, since I've been here, don't really do a whole lot of extracurriculars and aren't really overly physical. They were overly physical today, and they were kind of just answering what Western Michigan was providing. Western Michigan themselves were super, super physical and had a lot of crunching challenges and late fouls. So that was very interesting to see, but also it made for a very good atmosphere, but also just good match overall. It felt very much like a MAC tournament game, and I told that to Henry Costco, who was on the broadcast with me. Him and I were both talking about that a couple of times. It felt like these two teams were like, hey, yeah, one of us are going to be 1 or 2 in the MAC, so this result's going to probably come back to one bite us towards the end, whoever's on the wrong end of it. So they played like it, and the draw was deserved, honestly. Again, very physical. The first half was really good play. Second half was just a cage match and a dogfight, a lot of fouls. But a really solid result. This is their best start within now 10 games, but in 9 games in program history since 2008. They have 1 loss in 10 games, 6 wins, and now back-to-back draws against Ohio and Western, who are the last 2 MAC champs, and those are teams that they got 0 points against last year. Now, if you take in Kent State, Ohio, and Western, they have 5 points in those 3 games. They got none of those last year. They lost to all 3 of those teams last year. Been quite the turnaround from this year, last year to this year. So, yeah, a lot to be happy about.
And something that I know, because we've talked about a lot of teams on this show, and we've talked about basically every sport here at BG, something that always sticks out, I think, is looking at a coach when they're, still fairly early in their tenure, like when they start contending or getting, in the case of soccer, positive results in, like, the big games. And that's a couple of statement draw feels like a silly phrase to me to say, but that's a couple of real statement games in the last 2 games for them, I think.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I think with you going back to like having a new coach and a new everything, I think second year is really when you start seeing that jump being made. And if you should see it early. And if you don't really see it early, then there's something off. And especially with all the new coaches that came to Bowling Green under Derek Vandermeer since he's taken over. They've had a lot to do. It's not just, you're taking over, here's a team. Go forward. You're rebuilding, recruiting because everyone leaves because with the transfer portal and everything. So give credit to Chris Fox. Like, seriously. What this team had last year to this year, they've been sensational. And statement draw is a good way to put it. I think, in a way, it felt the way Chris Fox talked post-game was happy with the result, but also a bit disappointing that they didn't come back and win the game, which if you would have said that last year to Western Michigan team and even told me that before the start of the year, I would have said you're crazy because Western Michigan, can't overstate how good they are. They are a very, very good team. They're probably still, the preseason favorites won, but they're going to be a favorite probably heading into MAC play, and they're probably going to be 1, if not the 2 seed. We'll see how Ohio does, Bowling Green now as well. So, yeah, statement draw for sure.
And, it's too early for MAC conference. Oh,
I did yes.
How old are you? Hold on. Mid-American Conference.
There we go.
Conference standings.
Yeah, I said 6'7". You're fine.
That's true. It's a little early for those MAC standings to matter yet, but if you look at the overall, the winning success generally of like the teams at the top 2, BG's in pretty good company where they're at right now, and looking at who they have yet to play, I just feel like bodes kind of well. Those are 2 tough games coming out with draws. Like
this was their hardest stretch. These three teams, and you didn't lose a single game. So I feel great about them. I really do. They're going to be contention for the title, and second gets a bye week, but a home game. It's a neutral site, but one of those home spots if you're 3 or 4 seed. And they have Central Michigan next now on Sunday. You have a week off. Central Michigan didn't score a goal this season until the 7th game this year, so you like your chances against them, but then again, they did just tie Ball State on the road, so, give them credit. They actually had a good performance for once this year. A lot of positives. And I think the thing that people, because I don't know how much people have really been talking about them a whole lot, it kind of seems like they've been flying under the radar. I think they're getting more and more flowers as they've gone on. It's still not stylistically the most attractive thing. They're led by their defense. They're led by O'Malley and their back line. They have not given up more than a goal a game this year, which is just sensational. And even O'Malley, the chances they gave up, she came up with a couple of really, really big saves from a couple of long-range shots. So, give them credit. They're built by the back line, and they take their chances when they can on the counterattacks. So, yeah.
Yeah, something that sticks out to me is, what's up, Aiden?
No. You go first.
What I was going to say is something that really sticks out to me about this team is, we've talked about the style of play. They're very possession-oriented. They want to capitalize on the opportunities when they have them. But, it's usually going to be a low-scoring affair. This is where we see, several draws. You look at their, Western Michigan 1-1, Ohio 1-1, 2-1 over Kent, 1 over Duquesne, 2-1 Robert Morris. These are close. Their one goal is the margin of difference in these wins for the most part, or it's a tie. Mm-hmm. So my question, is there an offensive deficiency? I know it's the kind of style they want to play. How do you start turning these ties into wins? Because at some point, you're going to need to get some more wins on the board.
You do, and I think missing Ella Kane the past couple of games has been a pretty big miss. I think with her, Mazzaferro, and Lamparty, they've been just such good transfers coming into this team and new blood. She will be back. Fox confirmed that post game that it's just some fluid in the knee, and she'll be back in a couple of games down the stretch for sure. I think now with some injuries, Alexis Sapralis is out for the year with the torn ACL. He also confirmed that post game, which is not great because she's one of their creative midfield players. And then I can't believe I actually forgot to mention this, but Taylor Green didn't play the whole second half due to some collision she had, and she had something around her arm. Kind of looked like a sling in some ways, so hopefully she's okay, but she didn't play all the second half. That could be traumatic, short-term and long-term for this team, but when you have your match winners there, short answer, you got to turn those draws into wins. So who are the match winners? That would be Emma Stransky. That would be Ella Kane when she gets back. That would be Ellie Poole. That's Emmy Butera from a defensive standpoint in the midfield. Today, they didn't get the job done over the hump. Then again, I think if you return someone like Ella Kane to this match, in particular to this matchup, I think you'll probably come away with the win, or at least have high scoring, because one, the goal came from a set piece, but also a lot of the chances of this game came from counterattacks, and that's what Mazzaferro and Kane are really good at, using their speed on the wings. So I think if you have her, it's a really different game. So
100%. Lucas, so as our resident soccer expert, I have to ask you about what Peyton O'Malley is doing for the Falcons this season. I was just vividly remember I'm taking a look at all the sports that were happening before their seasons began, before I got on campus here. And Peyton O'Malley's freshman campaign really stood out to me. The fact that she was able to do all of that with little experience in Division I college soccer. Besides the obvious that she's keeping these games low scoring against Western Michigan, in terms of the Western Michigan standpoint, do you think she is going to be able to do enough within these next 3 or 4 weeks to push Bowling Green over into more wins and more wins and more wins and more wins?
I don't know if it's pushing them over. I think it's more so keeping them in the game, more so because it's a goal. Yeah, obviously save shots, but I'm fully confident in her. She seems to be getting better every game. The thing that sticks out with me with her is, and Holden and I are actually working on a feature about Peyton O'Malley, so that's soon to come on BG Falcon Media, which I'm excited about. Stay tuned. The maturity she has as a sophomore is crazy. And the way they play, they want, obviously, what's the number one job of a goalkeeper? Stop the ball from going to the net. And she can do that. She's really good at the ball at her feet because they play out of the back and they like to invite pressure. So they ask her, and not every goalkeeper is asked this, to play with her feet, play with the ball at her feet. Really confident at that, like a field player, which is something that's, for a sophomore in her sophomore year, is something that is crazy how good she already is in that aspect of her game at this stage, because I don't know how she's going to be when she's a junior or even a senior at that. Leadership, she's extremely vocal. She's not one of the captains on the team, but if you even go to the game or watch the game, she's talking the entire time, whether it's to the back line or to the rest of the team. So she's already a captain without officially being named a captain. And then just, again, like her today, she stopped 4 or 5 long-range shots from distance that were really good attempts that, if they go in, it was when Bowling Green was down 1-0 or they were tied 1-1. That's a game-changing save. And there were even a couple times in previous games, I know the Cincinnati game, Duquesne game, even she came up with the saves when it was still tied at 0-0 that Fox described as match-changing saves, because you don't save them, the game's over. So full confident, and she's leading the MAC in goals allowed, and then also saves per game so far. I'll have to double check, see if it's changed, but even like she's in contention for MAC goalkeeper of the year already, sophomore, and I'd be shocked if if she keeps playing the way she is and it gets better, she's got to win that award for sure, or at least or something like that. So yeah, good question.
Definitely a real bright spot on that team, and kind of a mandatory thing, it feels like, with the way that this team competes and contends in games. You're not going to have these blowouts, really. It's not something we expect. I don't think it's something that Coach Fox is telling them, hey, this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be close and hard fought. I really like hearing that really physical one with Western Michigan too. That kind of fires me up about the team.
Both the men's programs and women's programs, man. It's every match. It's a brand. Give them credit, man. I mean, they're, for a mid-major school for soccer, they're top, like consistently, both men's and women's. So that's the way they are, man.
Something in the water over in Kalamazoo, but
there's water over there. Just kidding.
What are the toughest games going forward for the team?
Looking ahead,
because obviously Western Michigan's like you said.
Yeah. Well, the thing that was good now is your tough ones are at home. Miami's kind of a sleeper a little bit. They've been kind of good. They took Western 3-2. Got a couple goals on them. That's at home. That's on October 12th. Ball State's the one that I would really pinpoint to you on the 19th. Ball State's these two programs have had tons of good championship matches, MAC tournament games in the past, especially in recent history, especially in the Jimmy Walker days. Ball State wasn't projected to do very good this year, and they've already got a couple of fairly decent results, so wouldn't be surprised with that. And then last, Buffalo on the road. Buffalo plays on turf, plays on the football stadium, if I'm not mistaken, but I know it's not grass. Turf, it's windy, it's late October.
Do you know if the team also practices on the football stadium just to get prepared for that, or
they probably will?
Okay.
I know the men's team uses the field house.
Okay.
It's on turf.
Yeah, I guess you could use some new turf
Yeah.
for the marching band. Who knows? There's a lot available.
You could. So yeah, Buffalo on the road too, and then just weather-wise, that could be freezing, and then you finish out the year at UMass.
Also another cold game potentially. So is it UMass's first year in the MAC?
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on what are they expected to do?
Solid.
Do you know? Solid.
Yeah, they got a first place vote in the preseason poll,
Okay.
and I want to say they were third or fourth. I know they were in the upper echelon of the preseason poll for the coaches. Pretty good. Kind of mixed bag results so far this year, but it's kind of like what Holden said. It's kind of early to really judge them.
Mm-hmm.
They're also there's such an unknown commodity how they're going to do against the MAC team. That's why I was kind of surprised they were picked so high. But I would not be surprised at all if that's a game where it's hey, this is for a bye week. This is for the second seed if that's the last game of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Not to derail it, but I can't help thinking anytime we talk about UMass, that just feels like, I know we don't have anything extreme.
They don't
in the
scream MAC.
Well, yes, they don't. But I know we don't have anything as extreme as Michigan State kicking off at USC at 11 p.m. local time for East Lansing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
right.
UMass does not seem like the most fun trip in that time of year.
It's okay, so that game is 1 p.m. on a Wednesday, which is weird. One, because it's usually Thursday and Sundays they play. And it's the same thing with them. I know we'll talk about the men's team, but they played DePaul on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's also kind of a really, really weird time for a non-conference game. So, some of these times are just odd, and that's also just the nature of being on a MAC team. They're probably going to have to drive to UMass. That's a long drive. So, it's the nature of it, man. But MACtion, we love it.
Lucas, you touched on some players to be returning. I'm looking. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 MAC games ahead. Approximately, what kind of record would you ballpark over that time frame? Just going with your gut.
Man, you're gonna put me on the spot here.
I am.
Darn. All right, well, let's go 6-1-3, that's just give them credit, man. That's unbelievable. And the only loss is to Illinois.
What would be the best start? Because they're tied for the second best start. Was that what it was?
Tied for first.
Tied for first. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, let's go on a limb here. We have 9 games left. Let's say 12 wins and maybe a couple losses there. Maybe 12 wins, 3 losses. and then one more draw. So like,
So it's 6-2-1 over the remaining stretch, approximately.
Yeah, I seriously like action. Things can happen. Like they're gonna drop a result, probably that they shouldn't. It's just the nature of it being. But hopefully, the way the conference shakes out, it's not a 2023 situation where you have one loss in 11 games in MAC play and you don't win the regular season because of how good Western Michigan was in 2023. But I think anything shy of not double-digit wins is a disappointment. But I think they'll get double-digit wins.
And I think it's interesting to me, and you can correct me where you disagree, but I feel like their style of play is a little more resistant to the whims of Maction being crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? I get it. Like I feel like a team that gets hot, at a weird times. Why we see those crazy Tuesday night football games, and why we see these crazy Mac results.
I mean,
I
Ohio's
think their play style
Yeah.
is it's more conservative, and I think that maybe lends itself better to the random whims versus. I mean, you might end up with more ties than wins, but I don't know.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, Ohio's been the king in women's soccer of getting hot right at the end of October, perfect time, go in the tournament play, and then they surprise everybody. And they're still underneath the radar. I mean, it happens all the time in sports. It's just the way it is. I mean, it happened in Evansville for the men's side last year. So, it's the way it is. I think their play is suited for MAC tournament, but at the same time, I do see the worry like, hey, if the offense goes quiet and you get more draws than wins, then that might be a problem when you get in the tournament play. But, we'll see. Hypotheticals. Herbert's.
Well, looking at the Herbert shade today is crazy. The Falcons are going to return to action a week from today, actually, next Sunday at home in Cochran Stadium against Central Michigan. Lucas, what do we got going on for the coverage of that one?
Full slate broadcasts. Henry Costco and I should be, and if not, it'll be one of Henry Costco and someone random. Recap, video, socials. I have to double check, see who's on it each, but full coverage on BG Falcon Media for YouTube.
Someone random, maybe we'll get Derek Vandermeer on it. Never know.
Dude, like
someone
Derek,
random.
If Derek, all Derek's got to do is ask, man. All Derek's got to do is ask.
As always, stay tuned to bgfalconmedia.com as well as BG_FMSN on Twitter, BG Falcon Media on Facebook, and all the other relevant apps to keep up with all the content coming out. We're going to take a break here very shortly as we approach the top of the back half of the show. The top of the back half, sure, that makes sense. But before we do, I want to throw a question for you guys to think about a little bit. In the world of sports, we have a lot of takes. And everyone knows this is probably like most of our favorite part is just like bashing each other for having bad takes.
Don't speak his name.
This is one where I really wish that Tyler and Ben were in studio because I know it exists.
I never wish they were. Keep going.
I want you. This
I
is
hope
going to
they're
be.
listening.
This is going to be tough. I want you to think about a time not related to sports where you had just an absolutely abysmal take that you had to just
dig yourself out of.
Yeah. So we're going to step away, do station identification. We'll come back close to the top of the hour here, and we'll talk about where we've gotten it wrong. So don't go anywhere. We've still got an exciting hour coming up on the second half of the Zig Zone here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Looking for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Be part of the WBGU team. Volunteer with WBGU FM in a variety of roles, including on-air, promotions, social media, music selection, and much more. Positions are always available to students and the local community. For more information, visit the WBGU Facebook page. Volunteer with Northwest Ohio's community radio station, WBGU 88.1 FM. The return to radio freedom.
Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcast on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM, but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
This is Phil Beskid, BGSU Radio Faculty Advisor. You can catch all the Falcon Media Sports Network broadcasts on our two stations, WBGU 88.1 FM and Falcon Radio, which can both be found on bgfalconmedia.com. Zig.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
We're back here in the second half of the Zig Zone. Holden Ruck, as always, joined by Sean Connolly, Aiden Bruick, Lucas Kleinmeyer, and Andrew Smith. And before we went away for our break, I asked the guys, we have takes about sports all the time, but I want to know a bad take, a poorly aged take of yours that has nothing to do with sports. So, gentlemen, who wants to get started?
I can get things started.
Sean seems ready.
I think we should go over here.
So one of my jobs I have, especially in the summer, I work at an ice cream shop in Perrysburg. Shout out Mr. Freeze. They actually closed today, so come back next spring. That said, I would say the most popular topping is Oreos. I would say that's pretty universally, like, at least if you probably got like a percentage, like Oreos are probably like the most popular ice cream topping. I think that, and so I brought this up a few weeks ago. My coworkers did not agree with it. I think that golden Oreos are better than regular Oreos. I find myself in a sitting, I eat way more golden Oreos than I do regular. Double stuff, of course.
Yeah. He's going to leave you hanging. Oh, no, there we go.
It agrees with that, I guess.
I do agree with
think
that.
I might be with you on that, actually.
Like,
I'm a big
I
golden Oreo
could
guy.
probably sit there and eat like 2 sleeves. I'm not kidding.
I could go
rows,
every
you
single
mean?
sleeve.
Yeah, 2 rows. And I like regular Oreos. It's not that I don't like those, but yeah, I think golden Oreos are better than regular Oreos.
That's a good one.
That
But like I said, my coworkers were like, "You're crazy. What? No." So yeah, I golden Oreos are better.
I would disagree, but not in the sense of like
That's crazy.
golden. Yeah, not in the sense of like
Okay.
golden Oreos.
It's not a Ben take.
I really enjoy golden Oreos. That's not a
Yeah.
That's not a bad take by any means.
a Ben
but-
take.
A bad take or a Ben take?
I heard Ben take.
Ben take.
A Ben take.
A Ben take.
I would,
Poor Ben.
but I just don't think it's that crazy because I think there are other Oreo varieties.
They're not my favorite Oreo.
But there
my
are
favorite
other
Oreo is
varietals
s'more
that are-
Oreos.
that are
Try
better.
them. They're fantastic.
S'more Oreos. I've
Yes,
never had s'more.
they're seasonal, like a summer seasonal, and they're
makes
my
sense.
favorite Oreo ever.
My last
Try
thought
it.
I'll offer on the Oreo front is they had cinnamon roll Oreos. Goated.
Mhm.
Best Oreos I've ever had. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. I don't think it's a piping hot take, but it is kind of a bad take. I think a lot of like Aldi's off-brand stuff specifically.
Aldi's a great store.
Is better
Oh,
than the actual.
that's
brands.
Aldi's a great store.
Dude, that's
I feel like
lukewarm.
I've gotten a lot of. I've gotten a lot of people telling me that I'm crazy for that, but I love the Clancy's potato chips way more than I like Lay's.
That was actually a good shout.
Way more
I
than
like
I
that,
like
actually.
Lay's.
That's good.
Clancy's potato
I like
chips.
that.
Oh,
I like
man.
that. I like that.
Who are you talking to that's like hating on that?
Yeah,
I
who
feel like
eats
that's like,
Aldi?
I got a lot of
We're
hate
a
from
college
people who
town.
go to
Yeah.
Costco.
I
Or,
don't
like,
I hate
Sam's
Costco.
Club
I
or
cannot
things.
stand Costco.
Oh, see, that's a way spicier take than your last one. You hate
That
Costco?
is.
I hate Costco because another like side job part thing that I do. I don't even count it as a job. It's more of like a quest. I deliver groceries for a like local business in Perrysburg, and where I shop is Costco. So I'm in there twice a week, Monday and Friday. I've been doing it literally for like 3 years now. I just cannot stand Costco at this point. I've been in there too many times. The workers are never there. Like if I need help with something, they're not there at all. They move things around. I'm not kidding, like weekly. So I go in there, I know what I want, and they move things around, and I just say I'm there longer than I need to be.
Thanks,
And
Sean.
what?
I says thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to the Costco sponsorship. I mean,
know.
For somebody who calls it a quest, you're not sounding very resourceful. You're an able-bodied young man. What do you need help with at Costco? I'm not following.
No, like so let's just say one of the things I have to get is like almond milk, and they move that around. So I go to the regular spot.
Find it, bro. I don't know, dude.
Dude,
Costco's huge. Costco is massive.
What is the Zig Zone even about, bro? What is the Zig Zone even about?
They move things around like they totally flip the store, and it's overnight too.
That's it. I haven't been there in a while, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I
Like-
just saw a free opportunity.
Like I said, they need almond milk, and if I go to where almond milk usually is, it's gone. And then when I try finding somebody for work, like a worker there, I just can't find anybody.
I'm glad that I've discovered now Sean does not like Costco.
I hate Costco. Sam's Club is superior.
I'm gonna come in with some Kirkland something and meeting tomorrow and just sipping on it.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Aiden, what you got?
I think that Iron Man 3 is the best Iron Man movie.
Oh, I'm so happy.
What?
Yes.
I think Iron Man 3 is the best Iron Man movie.
Is that the Christmas movie?
No.
Iron Man.
Which
2
one's a
is
Christmas
better.
movie?
The Christmas movie, I think that's... I don't even know.
I've only seen Iron Man 1, so.
Oh, Iron Man 2 is... No, Iron Man 3 is the Christmas
I know
movie.
there's a
It's the winter.
controversy.
It's during the winter.
Yes, it is.
It's during the winter
Okay.
because that is when he
you
goes...
couldn't remember that, but you're trying to say it's the best Iron Man movie speaks to how terrible that movie is in comparison
Wow,
to the
I-
other two.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Dude, this guy definitely watched Quantumania on opening night.
What does that have to do with Iron
My
Man?
name... What's his name? Darren?
Anyways,
Yes.
So anyways...
bad taste.
so-
I actually had a Marvel one too. So I thought, this is going back 3 years ago, I thought Thor: Love and Thunder was going to be the greatest movie ever. I thought it was going to be the best like Thor movie and Marvel movie. I thought it was like, I was so excited. I thought it was going to be the best thing. Even like when the reviews came out initially, I'm like, no. They don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, no, it's good. They don't like comedy. People hate Marvel now because it was cool to hate Marvel now. It's trendy. So I was like, oh, who cares? I'd never been more wrong.
Kind of the right take,
I've never
though.
been more wrong before in my life.
I feel like Lucas understood the assignment the most because it wasn't necessarily a controversial take so much as like one that he knows aged poorly.
I couldn't.
I could have been clear possibly. I mean, they were bad takes. Don't worry, it was a bad take. No,
I could not have been more wrong. That movie is terrible.
I'm completely with you. Chris Hemsworth, like, funny guy. I think everybody who liked those movies at all liked him in it probably. But yeah, that one was really really bad.
What an airball of a movie. Now they gotta do a fifth one.
And not to mention the fact the villain in Love and Thunder was such a cool villain. And
Was Christopher Nolan?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually, he was
close.
kind of a
Christopher
bright
Nolan.
spot. I thought it was at least like interesting.
Yeah.
But no.
It was terrible.
I don't think outside of Spider-Man, I don't think they've put out a good movie since like that whole Avengers saga
I'm
wrapped
lost
up,
in
to be honest.
Marvel. Like I have not picked like
I'm lost in the
Guardians
sauce.
3.
Guardians 3 was all right, yeah.
And Thunderbolts was good.
I
didn't see that one.
guess
I'm
like,
totally
if we're
lost
going-
with
If we're
Marvel.
going to the realm of like a take that aged,
You don't get a
poorly,
second chance.
Okay.
No, second chance.
I already. All right.
He
fine.
got the rebound.
Just
on
kidding.
it. Let him have it.
All right.
Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
I would
Go
say I thought the Batman movie that came out in 2021. I thought that was going to be terrible.
Oh,
I thought that was going to be a really.
That's a good
bad
thing to be
movie.
wrong about, though.
I
was
was really concerned that it was just going to be like rinse and repeat. Like, oh, we're doing the, we're doing the Joker again or something like that. And then it was Riddler. It was much more like, like more Batman-esque than like detective side of things than previous films have done. And it was I enjoyed it honestly probably more than Dark Knight, if I'm being honest. So that aged
Wow.
terribly in the opposite direction.
I think it's always like a little more satisfying when your take is negative and you're wrong about it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like there's the silver lining. If your take is something good and then you're wrong, it's like, well, that sucks, My take, I guess, the one I settled on is a little bit more in line with what you guys did. So I'm kind of breaking my own prompt, I guess. Because I think it's aged poorly. Yeah, I'm just gonna stand on it. So I was at home watching a movie the other night, and it was the B movie. I actually thought it was kind of good.
It is a good movie.
It is a good movie.
I do not. I think the consensus on that one is that it's like kind of a meme.
very
but, like,
weird
not a very
storyline.
good-
Yeah.
That said, I always enjoyed it
I
as a
think
kid.
it's weird, but I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld.
honey with made by man.
I watched a lot of Seinfeld this summer, and I was like, you know what? I'll give this another try. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of just like.
Yeah.
It's like Seinfeld-esque bits, and they're really stupid. But
I don't
it's
think
funny.
I've seen the B movie in probably like 15 years, but I remember like really enjoying it as a kid.
Well, and I mean, to be
But
fair,
again, looking
how
back,
many movies
very
did you
weird
not-
storyline.
How often did you not enjoy a movie that you watched as a kid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know the.
I'm trying to think
I don't know that
if
most
there was
people have
ever
that critical eye. I don't know.
What was I gonna?
I thought that one would be a lot more like. I feel like most people are like, no, that movie sucks. Why is he dating a human woman? That's weird. Like,
yeah, the storyline's weird, but like I said, if I probably rewatched it, I don't think I would hate it at all. I thought it was pretty, like I said, pretty good movie, as far as I can remember.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well,
imagine getting your girl stolen by a bee.
All right, well,
on that note, we're gonna go ahead and move on.
I'm sure we all relate at least once.
What? Anyways, we're going to move on. Talk about, I think, one of the strongest teams on campus here. We're going to talk about volleyball. Andrew Smith, it is your time to shine. So before we get into it, I want to just open up with a little bit of Coach Del Piombo's press conference from the 17th, 4 days ago.
We got better tonight. That was our big focus. We talk every day about getting a little bit better. Doesn't matter if it's in practice or in a match. Progressing throughout the year, and I thought that we did a lot of things that we talked about in practice a lot better tonight than we did last weekend, which is always your goal as a program, as a team, and as a coach. That's what you want to see. A lot of different people stepping up, a little bit of an untraditional lineup tonight, and our players didn't bat an eye, and we're really proud of them for it. And we talk a lot about winners have to find ways to win in different ways, and tonight I thought we did that, and we're really proud of them.
Questions? Coach, first home game as a head coach, first win at home. How's it feel?
It feels good. I love winning. Winning's nice, makes everything feel better. Everything on a Monday, on a Sunday feel a lot better. But I don't really celebrate it quite like, it's this huge milestone. It's just more, did we get better as a program? Did our team get better? Did our players get better tonight? And I thought that that's what happened, and that's more what I'm proud of. Than I kind of forget things like that until, people like you tell me.
And then
take me through the weekend. Kind of based off what she said, great, to get her first home win. But, how would you evaluate, the last week of Bowling Green volleyball?
Well, the matchup against Oakland, I thought the team played very well, as they should have. Oakland was winless heading into that one, and I believe is actually still winless. So that should have been a match where we took care of business, and they did. They swept them, and it didn't really feel like there was any doubt that would happen, even though Lauren Hovey didn't play in that match. The team looked really solid. There was coach mentioned an unconventional lineup. It really was Jessica Andrews, who's typically our starting middle blocker. She was playing right side for the team, and a lot of the freshmen got a ton of playing time, and that continued into the weekend at Michigan State in the Kathy DeBoer tournament. They faced off against the Spartans to start and lost in 4 sets with Hovey in the match, and you couldn't really tell if her play at all was due to some sort of injury or something like that, or just something was bothering her. She seems to be all right for the most part, but she didn't play against Binghamton, so I guess they'll be keeping an eye on that one. But the team just looked like they lacked confidence against Michigan State. The defense played really well. The setting by Amanda Otten was great, but the confidence and the hitting was just not there, and that can't happen. You can't have your defense back you up really well and your setting be really well done and then not perform on the hitting. Michigan State just took advantage of their height, and just the blocking was affecting everything that Bowling Green was doing, and the hitters didn't find their spots and find spots in the court well enough to get around it, and that's why they suffered that loss. And then going to the Binghamton game, you really thought that without Lauren Hovey, especially a team that took Michigan State to 5 sets, that there might have been a struggle there, but swept that team. And I think that was because the confidence in the hitting came back. I don't know what happened overnight, but the team looked a lot more confident about hitting around the block, tooling blocks, hitting a variety of Avery Hobson came in and was absolutely phenomenal. She's been playing great for the team over the past few weeks and all throughout non-conference play, and she was just great against Binghamton. She had double-digit kills halfway through the second set. but the main concern for me heading into the season was service receive and defense, and I feel like both of those things have really improved over the course of non-conference play. So that's the thing that I am the most happy about with this team is the defense has gotten a lot better. We are out digging the teams that we're playing, which is something that rarely happened last season.
And how do you think this all plays into looking into this conference opening slate? 2 back-to-back games here, and I know that you don't like to see the team play without confidence. I guess Michigan State hasn't lost a match.
No,
they're still
undefeated.
It's, you'd want to see Bowling Green play confident in that circumstance, but just the same. I mean, I feel like at some level you're going to be overmatched in those kinds of.
Michigan State Ben and I had talked, and we were pretty confident in the team's ability to at least force a 5th set, or win that match against Michigan State because of how we'd been playing and the teams that they had played. We felt like our competition of ranked opponents versus Michigan State, who had not played any ranked teams, hadn't really played any high level competition. Not to dig on the teams that they did play because they're all good teams, but they weren't at the level that we were playing. We thought we could come in and we could steal one from them and give them their first loss of the season, and that just didn't pan out.
And I don't think that's unrealistic because I was looking over their schedule here, and yeah, like you're saying, there's not bad teams on the schedule, but I think it's fair to say, I think there's an argument that they're playing down in every match, whereas Bowling Green is usually in their non-conference playing even or up. Mm-hmm. In terms of competition. So, I can definitely understand where the two of you would, kind of come to that conclusion.
Yeah. And I misspoke earlier. They did not go to 5 sets with Binghamton. I misspoke. They went to 5 sets against Appalachian State, which I see on the screen now, and then also they went to 5 sets against a Western Michigan team that was all 5th years last season. They lost. They had a lot of turnover with their players. I mean, they no longer have Logan Case, who is reigning setter of the year for multiple seasons, and losing a player like that has really hurt them. And they took this team to 5 sets, and we really thought that they could come in and steal one.
Yeah. Andrew, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I know the loss of Lindsay LaPinta was probably big from last year, this year. Yeah. How would you analyze Sydney Hernandez doing in that libero spot so far this year?
I think that she's doing better than Lindsay LaPinta was at this point last season. She is just a sophomore, so there is certain experience things that like intangibles as far as leadership goes that she just has to work on a little bit more. But she's come in and been a natural leader. I think going in her junior senior seasons, those that tool set will really develop itself. But her positioning is the only thing that I see that needs a little bit of work, especially on cross shots where outside hitters are going cross court trying to get that 10-foot line. She's a little out of position on those at times, but she has gotten great digs. She shows great hustle, great leadership, and just as a sophomore too, which is great. I think the biggest thing that I see from her that is an improvement over Lindsay LaPinta is her emergency setting. When Otten is out of the play and she needs to give a hitter a bump set, she's been doing that very well, and she's done it for both sides of the court, for the outside hitter and the right side hitter, and that is something that this team, we get out of system a lot, and most of volleyball is out of system. That's really necessary, and it takes a lot of weight off Amanda Otten, who this season has already become a lot better at getting hands on the ball instead of bump setting. That's the main thing.
Glad to hear that, because I know she played quite a bit for freshman year, but this was the year where it was you're the guy, you're the person, you're starting every game. So I'm glad to hear that, especially because only a sophomore, like you said, so young, but also so.
Yeah, I mean, our top 3 back row players, our defensive specialists, are all young. Avery Andrews is a sophomore. Olivia Brown is a freshman who's coming in and playing. So it when you have this young of a back row, they're bound to make mistakes, and that's why I think we're positioning wise, because they're just not used to when you go from high school where players are not able to hit these spots at the speed that some of these hitters can. in college to now where they can do that, and they're like, you're not gonna run. There's not gonna be a lot of times in high school where you run to a player that can rip a line shot, on 10-foot line. That's not gonna happen. And in college, you probably run into one of those players basically every match.
Yeah.
So there's that jump, but I think once they get over that hump, and now I really think they have, because Olivia Brown herself, she played very well, and I was really impressed with her serving ability. Not a lot of service aces, but just placement and forcing the opposition to get out of position were huge.
Yeah. Last one for me, and I'll give it back. Lauren Hovey's missed 2 of the last 3 games matches. What's up with that?
We've been told it's injury, tightness in her lower back. I'm not sure that it's gonna keep her sidelined for long. I hope it doesn't. But it clearly affected her. There's not going to be a lot of times where you see her get 8 kills on 33 total attacks, which is what she had against Michigan State. That just doesn't happen for her. So I think it is affecting her in some way, but I don't know if it's like, we need to rest her for a few more games.
Because she came back. I know didn't play, came back, and it's probably just being precautionary.
I feel like it's going to be more along the lines of thinking of like, okay, let's keep her silent, especially Ohio. Like that's not.
Right.
Like, that's not
Kent State,
Central or Toledo or
Ball State.
It's not. It's or Buffalo. Buffalo
Yeah.
also. It's not one of the other premier MAC volleyball teams. So I think you can keep her sidelined for honestly this match and the next and be just fine. My main concern about that is who's going to play right side. I mean, Jessica Andrews has stepped up into the spot, which is the last thing I expected. But if it works, it works. And if it gives her time to rest and be prepared for play later in the season and going to the MAC tournament, then I'm all for it.
I mean, looking at the records and schedules, you're looking at like 2-10 for Ohio and 5-6 for Kent State for their year records. And not all those losses are coming against bad teams. Ohio had a stretch where they played like Ohio State and Pittsburgh in like the same weekend. You're going to lose some of those real, heavyweight bouts. But when on the schedule to you is the first real challenge? Because I don't want to say that those are just gimmies. Nothing's guaranteed in basically any sports conference play. But I just feel like Ohio and Kent State, from what I can see, are kind of overmatched by the Falcons, even if Hovey's limited or not able to, you know what I mean? Yes. Where do you circle as like the big, what's the first big test to you?
I'd say... I wouldn't say, I don't know, either Eastern or Central Michigan will be the big test. I'd say probably actually this stretch of Eastern, Central, and then Toledo will be the biggest test of the team. I will say Eastern Michigan probably simply because it's on the road will be a tougher challenge, but the first real big test as far as like who I'm genuinely concerned about like a loss to is Central Michigan.
That's a heck of a road stretch too. Yeah. 3 away games in 5 days. You're at Ypsilanti on Friday, at Mount Pleasant on Saturday, and then Savage Arena on Tuesday.
I don't know why this team is on the road so much this year.
It's kind of a hard go of it, especially for a rivalry game like Toledo too. But a good team like Central. Like there's a lot.
Yeah, I don't want to put
that's a tough stretch.
I don't want to put any disrespect on Ohio or Kent State's name, but as far as like what I saw from them last season and now going into this one, I know the record. Neither one of the records.
You look at their last 2 resumes and you look at back-to-back home games. I think you feel a little better about it.
Especially Kent was not a good team last season. We'll have to see what happens. I think they can. They'll take. My assumption is they win those 2 games. I really think they can beat Eastern. Central will be a challenge.
I think it'll be good for them too. Just looking ahead to this first weekend, if they're able to, really just take care of business in Ohio. Get it done because
I'm sorry. If we come back home to the Stro for the Northern Illinois series and we have 1 loss, I'll consider that a huge win. I mean, obviously the hope is you go undefeated through that stretch. But if we come back with 1 loss, that's big.
I think those back-to-back nights hosting Ohio and Kent State are really a good chance for the team to, they had a good win against Binghamton. sputtered against Michigan State. I think it'd be really good for them to get, kind of momentum heading into that road trip.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm hopeful that they're able to do that, because I think, if either one of those don't go according to plan, or, God forbid you slip up on one of those matches, I don't know if you're feeling nearly as confident going into a really hard stretch. Because if you look down the rest of their season too, you've got Northern Illinois back-to-back nights. That's at home. Ball State's going to be a tough one. That's at home.
Mm-hmm.
Western Michigan on the road is going to be tough.
Ball State has a lot of very good young players. It's a very young team. It's very strong.
It feels like their hardest stretch besides this upcoming road trip is when they host Ball State back-to-back nights, and then the following weekend they play back-to-back nights against Western Michigan.
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier. Western Michigan, not the same team from last season, but they're always going to be a good team because there's something about Kalamazoo, man. Because for some reason the coaching is just so good that every single year they are just good.
No, he's not. No, volleyball, both soccers, hockey national
champions.
Well, women's basketball, they were really pretty good last year. I mean,
think football made like a New Year's Six ball.
Honestly, Lucas, I don't know.
2016 they did.
I don't know how you feel about it, but for a volleyball perspective, obviously it's different for football and some other sports. But
tough,
I
man.
feel like Western Michigan's. I dislike Western Michigan more than I dislike Toledo.
Sport you.
They're always there. They're always around.
They're always
there.
And it's honestly a testament to how good the coaching is. The coaching is phenomenal. I mean, even with the loss of Logan Case, I mentioned a few other fifth-year seniors that they had last year. They're still just winning games, and it's mind-blowing.
It didn't even bring you a little grin to see the 14-13 result in favor of Western Michigan over Toledo this weekend?
Well, that's football. That's different.
Well, no. I'm just saying, but in terms of like your, you said you like hate Western Michigan more than Toledo or whatever. Didn't get a little bit of satisfaction out of that?
I got a little satisfaction.
Okay,
that's
all I'm looking for.
But like volleyball, if volleyball, like if Toledo beats Western Michigan, like the reverse happens, I'm more happy about that.
That's fair. I guess like
I just don't like that team. They knocked us
there's
out
too
of
much
the
recent
tournament
history.
last year,
Yeah, that's fair.
But that is a tough stretch. Ball State, I really think, has next to us. We'll see how conference play goes, but has the best offense in the MAC as us. And then Central has just such a consistent team out there. They're a very well-rounded team. I don't think they stand out in anything besides maybe blocking. They were always second or third in blocking the MAC last season. So I'm really excited for this season to begin. I just want it to start. I want it to be Thursday already.
Conference play is always, I think, the start of it always gets me the most fired up in basically any sport, man. Mm-hmm. I don't think volleyball is any exception here. So the Falcons are going to continue their season this Thursday, September 25th, when they play Ohio at the Stroh Center with tip-off at 6 p.m. What kind of coverage do we have on that? Andrew and or Lucas, looking at you guys.
Yeah. Andrew Smith on the play-by-play this week for Thursday and Friday. Congrats, sir. Aiden Bruick making his FMS Falcon Media Sports Network broadcasting debut for volleyball. Congrats to you, sir. Foster, Andrew Helkowski will have ring coverage for Thursday's Ohio game. Video TBD for both, but we'll see. Carter Leonard will have socials for us. We'll have photos. And then the call for Friday was with Dana Reinauer with Andrew Smith. Foster again will be there writing. Adam Duffin will be there to write with us as well. You'll be there doing socials Friday, Holden.
I will.
Rock. Yeah, so full coverage. Finally some home volleyball.
Yes.
Besides Oakland. So should be fun.
BGFalconmedia.com. Check it out. Check out everything going on with that one. We're going to go ahead and move on. We've got one more of our big, kind of the big four that I talk about in the fall to talk about, and then we've got a little bit of golf on deck too. But we're going to talk about the men's soccer team. Lucas, feelings on the men's soccer, kind of current state of the season as compared with, the women's right now.
Way to bring the mood down. I was hoping we would start with men's. No, I'm kidding. How do I want to say this? So this has been my fourth year covering the team senior. That was probably the worst performance I've seen at home in 4 years. Worst loss. And that was bad. That was their first home loss since Missouri State in 2023, so 685 days to the day. They just looked flat from the opening whistle. Never grew into the game. Good credit to Bellarmine. I mean, just way wanted it. I mean, from the first minute, just high pressing, full of energy, full of confidence throughout the entire 90 minutes, and they were not. I wrote my sidebar for BG Falcon Media. I had a quote actually from Nichols. Actually, I want to say, which is, so if you go back and look at the goals, they were kind of, one, give credit to Bellarmine, they had good passes of play and they're good to finish off, but a lot of them were self-inflicted mistakes in the way that just the way they were playing just from a tempo standpoint was just poor. So Nichols said on how to handle the Bellarmine pressure and how did you feel like they handled them this game. He said they weren't causing us problems. It was we causing ourselves problems. Tempo was slow. The movement off the ball was slow. Decision-making was slow. We kind of played into traps, and we weren't urgent to get there with the loose ball. We were second to everything. You're not going to win many games like that. And Nichols is always a very kind of calm, composed figure. He does always, when you speak to him, he kind of laid into them a little bit post-game in his press conference. And even on the sideline, he was a lot more animated than he's been in games past. The red card doesn't really tell the story. I mean, the red card was a big reason why they probably gave up the second goal before halftime, but they were losing 1-0 before that, and they were going to lose the game probably red card regardless. Kyle Gischetto just made a really poor judgment, really poor two-footed challenge. He got sent off, and he's their middle defender, so then you have to change the entire shape and the entire formation based around that. And they played down a man for an hour for 60 minutes in the match, so you're not going to, especially already down a goal, and you're not going to win. So, yeah, disaster way to put it. That was, I'm a little stunned, honestly. I really don't know how to really attack it without just kind of repeating myself or saying the same stuff. It was really poor, really, really flat, and I was kind of shocked by it, to be quite frank with you.
Feels uncharacteristic for them to not kind of have what you were saying about the good acceleration and attacking to the ball. We're used to kind of a high-powered offensive performance from them. We talk about the strikers all the time, and obviously playing the man short on the defensive front just totally transforms the makeup of the field. Bellarmine, what are they presenting that causes things to go so awry, or you're going to get into conference play here in the MVC and you're going to go against some good teams. Evansville coming up this Friday.
Yeah.
How do you avoid falling into these same pitfalls against, I don't know everything about Bellarmine. I'm not going to pretend to,
right.
Arguably as good or potentially better competition. How do you avoid that?
They're still an unknown, team. Bellarmine, for what they were, they're not proving anything. And this year they turned out to be a pretty good team, so give them credit. They're still a relatively new Division I school, but you have DePaul Tuesday, so you have one final non-conference. We have two Cleveland States mixed in there weirdly, but so you go on the road on a Tuesday, Chicago. So you have to put this behind you if you're the team. Just forget about it. But the thing that Bellarmine presented was just intensity. Just want and desire, and that sounds kind of cliche and also kind of easy, but anybody who watched the game could see one team clearly wanted it, and the other team thought they were, what Nichols said post game, was just going to show up and knock the ball around and just pass through everybody. Just lackadaisical. Just lack of intensity. There's so many moments of just play a build up where it was just too slow, it was too predictable, it was too methodical. They just read it. They closed off these passing lanes, so you pass along the back with Suarez, Gischetto, and Rios, and then you go on the side with Hernandez. Okay, well, by the time it gets cycled all the way to Hernandez, Bellarmine's already switched all the way to the right side and cut off his passing lane. So then he's got to work his way back, and then he passes along the back. Then you go left for Schaefer. By the time he gets to him, it's too slow. Bellarmine shifted all the way to left. They've cut off his passing lanes. It's too slow, and everything is just a little surprising me because yes, there's relatively new players, but some of these guys have been playing the system for now 3-4 years, and they look just out of place, or they look slow, they look unsure of themselves in moments. That's surprising to me. And I talk about on a couple, probably last Zig Zone, probably more so the show before that, but the midfield. Like, he's changed the midfield shape now 3-4 times, and he's changed the personnel because I don't think he knows his best midfield group. I still don't. I am fully on start Reko Bodurov. I mean, he's been off the bench, sparked for most of the team this year. He started a couple games last year. He had if you had to pick a guy that had a good game yesterday, I'd pick him. He had a couple of really good chances off the bench, and he's someone that can play an attacking mid spot and have somewhat creativity in the midfield. Other than that, I mean, it's, Christensen's going to be there. Is it Ramos, Saavedra? I don't know. I mean, they're still trying to figure that out, and that worries me when you're 7 games into the year and you're almost in the conference play. I can't believe we're even talking about this because I was on the Zig Zone driving back from Lexington. How happy that they tied the 18th team in the country. And you even beat Michigan State at home before and shut them out. And now you lose to just Bellarmine 3-0 at home. I don't
respect to Bellarmine.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's so weird.
It feels like there's kind of a lot for them to figure out, and quick too. With like we said, DePaul Tuesday, Evansville Friday. I mean, do you think have you seen them play like this year? Like they did against Bellarmine?
There's been, IU-Indy was kind of a shocker how bad they did to start the year, but there's been signs and moments of them not playing well, and moments of that where it's been kind of slow, but I didn't expect that last night. I'll put my hand up first. I did not expect that at all. And they didn't grow in. They grew into the game a little bit in the second half. I'll give them that. They looked better in the second half, created a couple good looks, but you're down a man and you're down by 2 already. The game's not over because any crazy things can happen, but it's hard to climb back from that. So they did have some good moments. So give them credit for fighting a little bit in the second half, but that first 45 was as bad as I've seen it in a long time. And they know it. Nichols told us post game. They know it wasn't good. They know they weren't supposed to lose. They were favored. So now it's okay. What do you do Tuesday against DePaul? Do you come back and do you answer with the win on the road? I think they could. Will they do it? Who knows? And then, if you don't Friday for Evansville come out with just your hair on fire they beat you in the MVC championship game last year. Evansville also has had some shaky start results this year. It's Mickey Cochran being inducted in the OCHA Hall of Fame that night, who's the godfather of the program. It's alumni weekend, so you have a bunch of alums from that team last year, and our weekend's coming back. And it's also a Friday night game under lights. It's your first conference game. If you're not up for that,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's one thing, if you lose that, okay, it is the reigning Missouri Valley Conference champion. But if you don't show up and play your best for that, that's pretty.
If you're not diving in for every second ball, the third ball is challenges 50-50s. Something deeper is going on. I think they will though. So
yeah. It's kind of an interesting run of it so far for Evansville, actually looking at 1-2-5 overall. Their worst loss coming at number 15, North Carolina, 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like they're competitive, but there's not a lot of wins.
It's similar to what Andrew was saying about Western Michigan for volleyball. They just got decimated. One for graduation, but Federici, their star attacking midfielder, went to transfer to Indiana, one of the best programs in the entire country. Kai Phillip, who was one of the best strikers in the Valley with Painter and Terry, transferred to Penn State. They got goused in the transfer portal. So, that's to be expected when you're a mid-major and, your star players want to have a chance to go up. And they went up. So,
yeah, makes sense there.
How many dogs were there?
It was pups at the pitch night for people that.
Right.
Yeah, no, maybe I should have opened with it was pups at the pitch night.
Random.
Wow.
How many dogs were there?
A lot. I didn't really look, to be honest with you.
That's okay.
Somebody should have been counting it like the. I know they don't it's not like admissions because it's soccer, but somebody should have been counting.
Well, today for women's soccer, they also had dogs at the game as well, and there was actually quite a bit. There was quite a bit. The thing is, because the difference between men's and women's games is when the game ends, and you guys who have covered a game or even watched have seen it, it's just Panic at the Disco. Everyone just runs onto the field. That's what I kind of like about it. It's a family environment. Everyone has fun at the end of the game, and parents come on the field. You talk to everybody. 40 kids just stormed on the field, and 30 of them went to Andrew Schaefer to sign stuff. So I was more looking at everyone that just ran to the field more so than dogs. Because I didn't see that many.
So it's pups at the pitch night, and instead of looking at the dogs that are there after, you could use a little cheer me up. Come on.
Anyways,
you don't go up to one of the.
This is a reach, man.
Not a reach.
This is a reach.
No reaches.
Yeah.
No reaches seen.
But
Men's soccer this week. Oh
yeah.
no.
No, just I could
On to the
not. I
next.
could. Yeah, you gotta just go on the next, man. That was insane. Insane.
This week.
Not on the next because of what you said. On the next, what the result was.
Dude, I tried.
You got man. On to DePaul. This Tuesday, 3 p.m. kick at DePaul in Chicago, and then Evansville Friday, 7 p.m. at home. That's going to be one with a lot
Why
of
is
eyes
that
on
an
it.
afternoon game? I mean, unless they don't have lights. I mean, why? Well, anyway, yeah. Yeah, if you're not... Evansville game is huge. Gotta get up for that, so, yeah.
Yeah. Coverage on those ones, Mr.
Oh,
Kleinmeyer.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Foster Rosti and Nosili will have coverage for DePaul, preview and recap. And then obviously for Evansville, that Friday night, myself and Nosili will be on the broadcast on WBGU PBS YouTube. Kevin Hutchinson will be providing written content. Tyler Callis is supposed to, but Ohio football might intervene, so someone else will probably write for that, so we'll figure out there. Henry Costco will have video for us. Carter Leonard will be also doing social media for us as well, and we'll have photos and everything, so, should be fun.
Full coverage on that one as well. Stay tuned for that. We're closing in towards the end of the show here. Next up, we're going to hear from Mr. Aiden Brewick, who's been patiently biding his time, waiting to let us know what's going on. Aiden is our golf beat for Falcon Media Sports Network. Aiden, what's going on?
Without a doubt. Right now, both of the golf teams are currently in their fall seasons, which isn't as much of a big hit as it is during the spring. Of course, for both of these teams, Mid-American Conference play is going to be, or Mid-American Conference play, is going to be your number one in how you face against your other foes, and that's something that we always see during the spring. That's not something we see during the fall. So, for right now, what you're going to see out of both the men's and women's golf teams is they're playing a lot of invitational tournaments. They're not playing a lot of interconference stuff. There are MAC teams that do play at those, but it's not like your head-to-head point tiebreaker, that type of thing yet. So, like for instance, women's golf team just played at the Redbird Invitational in Illinois. That was hosted by Illinois State. Guys just played in the Golden Grizzlies Intercollegiate in Michigan. And both teams have been having, their own forms of success. Women's golf this year are already breaking records. This is one of, if not the best start to a women's golf season we've had in BGSU history. Addison Cartouch, number one, winning MAC Golfer of the Week after a record-breaking round at the Agaming Invitational within her first 2-3 weeks of being here on campus. Shot a 65, which is the lowest individual round the university has ever seen in their women's golf program. That also contributed to her team's win. They won the Agaming Invitational. Didn't get it done at the Redbird, and Fahe had said some stuff about her. Sorry, what was that?
I just like the way you said some stuff.
Oh yeah, no.
It's
because you have to lead with nuance so that you get into the meat of the story as you keep going. She had said some stuff mostly pertaining to the fact that her team has been starting off really strong. You're seeing a very consistent 5. And the way that college golf works is you send 5 for your cumulative scoring, and then you also have an individual that you can send. So the top 5 finishers for BG have consistently been shooting around a 73 average if you're going to average it out. And that's been really good. That's what you want to see. In college golf, that is primarily above average, and in BG's case, that is really good for when we get into MAC play. So in terms of the men's golf team, like I said, did the Golden Grizzlies Invitational at Oakland. Finished last place, shot 916, which is 64 over the 3 rounds. Butler, to put it in perspective, were the winners of that tournament. They won. They were only 5 over. Pedro Garcia, who's from Spain, actually a freshman this year, led Bowling Green. He shot a +7, and he was he was the only Falcon to place within the top 25 during that tournament. Shot 220 on the weekend, which is like I said, that's very above average. That is very good in terms of Mid-American Conference play, especially. Garcia is new to the roster. This is his first year playing. 4 guys played their first Division I golf tournament at the Golden Grizzlies Invitational. So to put it in perspective, this is a very new roster. Transfers from Grand Canyon University. I mean, everybody right now, especially on the men's golf team, to break it down into more of an expert opinion, is just they're starting off right now, and they're just trying to get their feet off the ground before they inevitably will have to lock in during the spring season. And right now, honestly, it's not that results don't matter. It's just that results aren't as impactful as much as they are measuring sticks. So
they're not everything yet, but you know where you're at.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. 3 freshmen, like I said, Pedro Garcia, and then Andrew Lee and Angelo Luciani. Luciani and Lee both were within 6 places of each other overall finishing. So there's still time to find yourself or to make yourself a spot on the roster, because these guys are all finishing like pretty close within each other place-wise. So it is what it is. There's still a lot of time left. I mean, of course, we still have the spring season, but the way that I see it, Fahy and Coach Powers. Fahy is the women's head coach, I apologize. And then John Powers is our men's golf head coach. Both of them are incredibly optimistic in the times that I've talked to them. And to be quite frank with you, I think BG golf at this point, there really isn't a way to go down. There's only a way to go up, and that goes for both programs.
Feels like they're really coming out swinging early, and there's a lot to be excited about for when that spring season comes for them. Would you say that's accurate?
I'd say that the spring season definitely matters more than the fall season. But to answer shortly, yeah, you're right. Cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll stay. You'll have to keep us posted. We'll certainly have
No,
you
it's
back
okay. Yeah,
keeping us
that's
up
my
to date
job
on the golf. So.
Oh, of course.
Aiden Bruick, our resident golf expert. We're going to step away quickly for about 30 seconds, and when we come back, the guys are going to share with me one more hot take. But this time, we're going back to the realm of sports. It can be Bowling Green. It can be non-Bowling Green, professional, amateur. You can talk about your high school football team if you want to, but I want to hear just a general hot take, because I love getting hot takes out of you guys on the air, because then we can look back at them and laugh when we were wrong. So we're going to separate real quick. Don't go anywhere. We're about to wrap up here on the Zig Zone on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcast on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM, but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
Welcome back to the Zig Zone. We're about to wrap up here, but I'm Holden Ruck, joined by Andrew Smith, Lucas Kleinmeyer, Aiden Bruick, and Sean Connolly from the Falcon Media Sports Network. And we're going to wrap up here with one more round of hot takes, but this time back in the world of athletics. So does anybody have any bold takes they want to take a stab at?
Is this like the last one where it's like hot takes that we've had?
No. I'm saying like current like
okay,
hot.
Current
think more
hot
like
takes.
predictions, hot takes, opinions on like somebody now. You know, if I was really trying to get under Foster Rostai's skin, I'd say something negative about Daniel Jones, but I'm not gonna poke that bear today. But Does anything come to mind? Because if not, I can always go first.
You want to go, Lucas?
Oh man. Hot take. Okay. The Baltimore Ravens will not win the AFC North this year.
Who will?
Steelers.
Wow. That's wild.
Oh.
Honestly, I might be inclined to agree.
I disagree.
Aaron Rodgers is going to turn back that clock.
But I love the hot take.
That's a good take,
that's a good hot take.
I think the Ravens defense is very suspect. I don't know if I agree with that, but like I could buy that. You could tell me on that.
This is going to be a division where 10-7 is going to win the North.
You think?
Yeah, we're going to be very tight.
I could see it. I could see them getting I was gonna say I could see them getting kind of clobbered by the other divisions, but the Browns just picked up their first win over the Packers, who I thought were world beaters after week 1. So
Steelers,
I'm so hyped.
Steelers fans getting ready for yet another 8-1 regular season. The tie is important. The tie is very important. That always they always have one tie.
Yeah, there you go.
Tie records look so funny to me in football. I don't know why, but like it just makes me laugh.
It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
What's a good one?
I have a good hot take. I have a good hot take. If you're not...
Yeah, no. That's why I'm saying, yeah, no.
And it's a Daniel Jones hot take.
Oh. Where's Foster?
And it's a positive.
See, this year's Sam Darnold.
I think Daniel Jones is going to win Comeback Player of the Year.
So he's this year's Sam Darnold,
coming back from being bad.
Yeah, comeback player of the year.
I can't tell you how much that bothers me just in principle as an award. Like, I feel like it should be like based in injury. I'm not saying you have to be like... Maybe that lowers the bar of how good you have to be to win it, but like you used to be bad, and now you're coming back from being bad, and you get an award for it. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
But not only is he coming
this
back
guy
from being,
sucked last year award, like
not only is he coming back from being bad though, he's also coming back from being in New York. So that's an important denomination to make. I feel like any quarterback that was in New York and is now on a different team is just flourishing, or at least playing at a very comparable level.
Yeah.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Like Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts for the Jets, and then he came in.
Oh, you mean New York in general, not just the Giants?
I mean Jets and Giants.
I love Sam Darnold.
And then Sam Darnold, he came out last season. He played great.
I think the Vikings can just make any quarterback kind of okay, though.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. That offense is phenomenal.
Do you guys have any idea? Do you guys have any idea on when the trades are going to start heating up in the NFL? Like, I'm talking about like early trades, not like wait till trade deadline. When do you think trades are going to start?
Are you going to suggest that the trade happens for like a big name player or something?
Oh.
No, I'm not. I'm curious.
I think when after next week, probably. I think most teams have
when is the deadline? Like middle of November? Is that usually when it's at?
I think it's middle of November. That's a good question. But
yeah,
I think like once a team has 4 or 5 games.
Tuesday, November 4th.
Tuesday, November 4th.
I would say usually like October is when you start seeing some stuff. So yeah, sometime within the next 2 weeks.
I'd give it after next weekend is when I think we're probably going to see one, mildly noteworthy at least name getting moved. Some starter moving from a decent team to another, or from a bad team to a good team.
Yeah.
With that, I'm just curious. Do you guys have any idea who it would be?
The Browns pick up Carson Wentz.
You think the Browns go Carson Wentz?
No, absolutely not.
Then who do the Browns go with?
It's a great
what do you mean who the Browns
They probably won't get anybody.
The Dolphins
they have no reason to.
Don't do anything.
It's a great hot take.
The Dolphins are going to move Tyreek Hill
to
some maybe Kansas City.
You think
maybe
he's going back?
Reunion.
Ooh.
Maybe I'm trying to think who else has kind of a depleted receiving room that you could see. Maybe
just no longer hot takes. We're just fully into possible trades.
Well, no, my hot take is Tyreek Hill is moving from the Dolphins during this season, not like after the season. Like he's getting traded before the deadline. That's my.
He'll demand a trade probably.
I just don't think. I mean, after still coming up short against the Bills, I think that team is held together by flimsy strings. And I think you start taking it apart. I don't know how much of that regime survives the offseason. I think you move Tyreek sooner than later. That's what I expect to happen.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't even. This isn't necessarily like a player, and I don't even think this is really a hot take. Just something that like bothers me, I guess. And I guess Lucas and I were talking about this a few weeks ago in Cincinnati. Like I hate when teams wear white at home for football. Like it bothers me so much. Like I just It really infuriates me. Or I'll even go as far as this. I hate alternate
Right.
uniforms that aren't throwbacks.
Hate Costco.
I will let me
hate
counter.
white
I
jerseys at
agree
home.
with. I don't like the white at home. I don't like anything that the Cowboys do with their jerseys.
Yeah,
Let me
I
one-up
guess
you.
to them it makes sense because they it's not like an they do that every game. So I guess that makes more
I
sense.
think more teams with contrasting colors should wear primary on primary. The national championship last year should have been scarlet and gray on, I don't know what Notre Dame calls their official colors, navy and gold, blue and gold. It should have been primary on primary. It would have looked sweet.
Yeah, but
look at what USC and UCLA do.
That's true.
It looks phenomenal. More teams should be willing to do it.
But yeah, it bothers me when teams wear white at home. And Cincinnati did that a few weeks ago, and it's just, and like I said, I'll even go as far as I hate alternate uniforms. Hot take: I don't like the Lions black uniforms.
Wow.
I think it depends.
And I'm a Lions fan, so it's not like I'm hating.
How dramatic it is.
I don't like. Wear your classics.
Yeah,
what is the problem with doing
and
that?
I think silver as an alternate for the Lions was even fine because that's like one of the primary colors.
Well, I even have a problem with this now. I'm getting tired of the blue on blue. Start wearing your silver pants more.
Wow.
I can get that.
I am all for. I like classic uniforms. Like I was at the Notre Dame game yesterday, and if they weren't wearing blue and gold, I would be upset. I would be very upset.
Well,
actually,
my thing is like if you look at like the Lions, it's like blue, silver, white. There are those colors. Like those are the three colors. It's primary, secondary, and white.
Yeah.
So like I'm fine with it. The Bengals, they got like orange and black and white. You know, their alternates the orange. That's fine. The white, I'm fine with that. But it's when you venture out of your primaries that's where I start to have problems. Use your colors. Like your team has colors for a reason.
I don't know. I think it's fun. Hot take. I love the Browns uniforms that they wore today.
Wow,
I know
that's
a lot
brutal.
Of people didn't.
No,
I really like it when teams change it up. No, I don't think it should be your main uniform. No, I don't think you should wear it all the time. But I think it's cool to change it up and to throw something new out there.
Just like I said, throwbacks not included. If I were to go to a game, and let's just say I'm a big Browns fan and I'm going to the game for the first time and they're wearing that, I'd be pretty upset. And that goes for any team. Like I want to see my team's classic uniforms.
Some of those can be like the most. I know the Toronto Raptors last season had like their
NBA as a whole is just a joke in terms of
let's
uniforms.
not
but their city
NBA is a joke.
The city jerseys the Raptors had last season were the best jerseys I've seen in the past.
A lot of fans of the classics here. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. That's going to be it for us from the Zig Zone today. As always, stay tuned to bgfalconmedia.com for everything going on with Falcon Athletics because we will keep you posted. As always, for the crew here in the Coolin Center studios, Sean Connolly, Aiden Brewick, Lucas Kleinmeyer, and Andrew Smith, my name's Holden Ruck saying have a good one. Hi, Ziggy.